of all the players I've ever watched, at this age, I've never seen a player this good, this complete.
Tennis has witnessed every conceivable iteration of a champion, from the clinical, ruthless efficiency of Novak Djokovic to the balletic artistry of Roger Federer and the relentless gladiatorial spirit of Rafael Nadal. Yet somewhere beyond that traditional spectrum exists a young phenomenon who plays as if he is actively glitching reality. Carlos Alcaraz is not merely a tennis player. He is a generational problem who can sprint full tilt to blast a 100-mile-per-hour passing shot, and then, with the very next touch, feather a drop shot so delicate it feels like it belongs in another dimension. At just 22 years old, Alcaraz has already constructed a career trajectory that reads like a video game cheat code, boasting 7 Grand Slam titles. Having just captured the 2026 Australian Open to complete the career Grand Slam as the youngest man in history, and becoming the only player to conquer every major surface before the age of 23. This feat has the rest of the tour shaking their heads in collective disbelief, because he has effectively compressed 20 years of legendary development into a mere 5-season span. What makes him so unfairly good is a cocktail of chaos, weapons, and a unique mentality. He doesn't just use the drop shot as a tactical surprise, he uses it as a primary weapon of disrespect, dragging opponents 15 feet behind the baseline with one of the heaviest and nastiest forehands in history before pulling the string. His forehand is a masterpiece of modern biomechanics, utilizing a whip technique that generates massive racket head speed through a semi-western grip and an explosive full-arm extension that mirrors Nadal's leverage but adds a flat penetrating power reminiscent of prime Del Potro. As Jim Courier aptly noted, Alcaraz creates space in the forecourt in ways previously unseen, forcing his rivals to cover the entire planet because he systematically breaks the internal logic of a tennis point. His total tennis style allows him to transition from deep defense to aggressive offense in less than 3 seconds. Armed with a toolbox that includes backhand lasers, vintage Federer-style net skills, and a drive volley that finishes points before the rally even truly begins. In 2000-2005 alone, he went 7-1, 9, claiming his second French Open and second US Open titles, effectively reclaiming the world #1 ranking and proving that his ceiling is higher than anyone had dared to project. His 2025 season was a statistical marvel, where he maintained a 95.7% win rate on clay and claimed 8 titles overall, including a Triple Crown of Masters, 1000s in Monte Carlo, Rome, and Cincinnati. Even more terrifying is the fact that he isn't yet perfect. He still battles occasional lapses in focus, which were once his Achilles heel at the Australian Open, until his historic 2026 run, where he dismantled Novak Djokovic in a 4-set final that signaled a definitive passing of the torch. This 2026 Melbourne campaign was the ultimate test of his evolution, particularly in the semifinals where he survived a grueling 5-hour, 27-minute war against Alexander Zverev, overcoming severe physical strain to prove that his resilience now matches his technical brilliance. His coach, Juan Carlos Ferrero, often points out that he is still maturing emotionally. Yet despite these human glitches, Alcaraz has managed to win 15 big titles at a strike rate that rivals the peak of the big 3.
And then to top it off, you get Roger, Rafa, and Novak. And you're like, I'm looking at the 3 greatest players that ever lived. And suddenly, somehow, along comes this other guy from Spain. Remember seeing him, he was probably 17. Hey, this guy's got some talent. That guy's pretty quick out there. I never in my wildest dreams, I'll tell you, of all the players I've ever watched, at this age, I've never seen a player this good, this complete, the last 2-3 years. And with that damn smile that you have, I'm very jealous of that, okay?
And the blonde hair.
It's just, well, the blonde hair's, I don't know about that one, but whatever he wants, I'm happy with. Thank God for Carlos Alcaraz, what he's bringing to the table. I have a tennis academy the last 15 years, and you know the young kids, they always want, like you said, emulate the big boys. And I'm hoping that they're going to look at Carlos and what he does and how he loves to be aggressive and move forward, because we lost a lot of that. You don't see the volleying that much, but I think that's going to change because of him. So you talk about a breath of fresh air when we desperately needed it, when we thought, oh my God, what are we going to do? These 3 guys are finished. 2 quit and Novak looks human all of a sudden. So to have him and Yannick come in and now the other guys got to chase and try to catch up, it's really awesome.
This dominance has set the stage for the defining rivalry of the next decade against Jannik Sinner, a rivalry colloquially known as Sin Caras, which represents the most balanced and high-octane contrast in the modern game. While Sinner possesses the clinical precision, the indoor dominance, and the ice-cold baseline consistency that can make the entire tour sweat. Alcaraz counters with a brand of creative chaos that is impossible to scout or replicate. Their matches, such as the 5-hour, 29-minute French Open final in 2025, where Alcaraz saved 3 championship points to win the longest final in Roland Garros history, have become the new gold standard for the sport. Alcaraz is trailing only Djokovic among active players in major titles, yet he remains a grounded, humble figure who still trains at Ferrero's Academy in Villena. He speaks openly about the mental burdens of carrying the sport on his shoulders, acknowledging his struggles with the same pillars, the weapons that defy physics, the mentality that welcomes pressure, and the chaos that leaves even the greatest defenders in history looking stranded. By completing the career Grand Slam at 22 years and 272 days, Alcaraz has officially ended the debate about whether he is a flash in the pan. He is the sun itself, and the rest of the tour is simply orbiting his gravity. The technical depth of his game is staggering. His serve, once considered a relative weakness, has transformed into a 135 MPRE weapon that he can spot with surgical precision, a result of a refined motion developed specifically for the 2026 season. His backhand, often overlooked because of the pyrotechnics of his forehand, is a world-class stabilizing force that can absorb Sinner's pace and redirect it with interest. Furthermore, his court coverage is mathematically superior to his peers. Analysts have noted that Alcaraz covers 15% more ground per point than the average top 10 player, yet he does so with a lower perceived exertion because of his perfect balance that allows him to strike the ball cleanly even when sliding on hard courts. This physical freakishness is paired with a tactical audacity that defies coaching. He often ignores safe percentage play in favor of the impossible winner, a gamble that would break a lesser player's confidence, but only fuels Carlos's fire. In the 2025 season, he recorded his 250th career victory and became the first player to win titles on all 3 surfaces for 3 consecutive years, a testament to his versatility and his refusal to be pigeonholed as a clay specialist. His rivalry with Sinner intensified further when Sinner took the 2005 Wimbledon title in a 4-set masterclass of grass court serving, only for Alcaraz to respond by dethroning the Italian at the US Open just weeks later. This back and forth has created a vacuum where no other player can consistently compete. As Tommy Paul noted, the rest of the tour is simply trying to keep up with a level of tennis that is all-out warfare. Even the intense pressures of his Netflix documentary, My Way, failed to slow his momentum. Alcaraz has leaned into a more balanced life, training more frequently in Murcia to stay close to his family, a move that seems to have only sharpened his mental edge. This human element, his need for connection, his visible frustration on court, and his unabashed joy when winning is what makes him the face of the sport's future.
Inspires you from the young generation. We have so many young ones coming up. There's Sinner, there's Rune, there's so many other ones. Who do you like watching?
Alcaraz, I think, has to be like.
I haven't mentioned him.
Yeah, no, he's remarkable. His athleticism, his spirit. You know, you turn on the TV, and if you looked at him, you would have no idea if he's winning or losing because he just is who he is, and he looks happy to be out there. He looks thrilled, and he's so explosive and so dynamic and has everything that you could ever ask for, you know, from a skill perspective. And then you add his mental clarity and his passion for the game, and it's great somebody to take over the mantle like that.
He has become a giant standing on the shoulders of giants, absorbing the best traits of the big 3, Federer's creative flair, Nadal's competitive grit, and Djokovic's defensive resilience. As he looks toward the rest of 2026, the question is no longer whether he will be great, but whether he will achieve the true Grand Slam, winning all 4 majors in a single calendar year, a feat that eluded even the big 3 in their absolute primes. With the Australian Open already in his trophy cabinet and his favorite red clay of Paris approaching, the tennis world is bracing for a season of total Spanish dominance. Alcaraz has turned the professional circuit into his personal playground, making the impossible look casual and the extraordinary look routine. Carlos, if you're watching this, don't change. Keep playing with that smile that disguises the predator within, because you have reminded the world that tennis is at its best when it is played with fire, creativity, and a touch of total disrespect for the status quo. If he continues to evolve his transition game and maintains the physical health that was a concern in late 2025, there is no statistical ceiling for what he can achieve. He is on pace to surpass 20 majors before he hits 30, a prospect that would have seemed laughable before his arrival. The new 2 era is firmly here, and while Sinner provides the ice, Alcaraz provides the inferno. Together, they are rewriting the record books, but it is Alcaraz who remains the primary disruptor, the kid who hits glitch shots that force spectators to rub their eyes in disbelief. His story is one of a prodigy who refused to be overwhelmed by expectations, instead choosing to dance under the brightest lights. He is the first of a new breed of athlete, one who possesses total technical mastery alongside a personality that invites the audience into his world. When he plays, you don't just see a match, you see an artist at work, a scientist experimenting with the laws of physics, and a child playing for the pure love of the game. This is the Alcaraz era, and we are all just lucky to be watching it unfold in real time. Whether it's the 14,000 ground strokes he and Sinner traded in Paris, or the clutch backhands he produced in Turin, every moment of his 2025 and early 2026 runs has been a masterclass in what happens when talent meets an unbreakable will. He has already collected more accolades at 22 than most Hall of Famers do in a lifetime, and he is still only scratching the surface of his tactical potential. As the tour moves from the hard courts of Australia to the American sunshine of Indian Wells and Miami, all eyes remain on the Spaniard, waiting for the next boop drop shot or the next flamethrower forehand that will leave yet another top pro stranded. He isn't just winning matches, he is winning hearts and minds, proving that you can be the world's most terrifying competitor while still being the guy everyone wants to have a beer with. The Alcaraz legacy is already secured, but the Alcaraz legend is only just beginning. Looking deeper into the mechanics of his success, it becomes clear that his development wasn't an accident, but a meticulously crafted evolution that combines the raw athleticism of a track star with the strategic mind of a chess master. His 2025 run was particularly indicative of this, as he navigated a calendar that would have broken most players, participating in 18 tournaments and reaching the finals in nearly half of them.
Great tournament. It's quite crazy that you and Carlos have had such a storied rivalry despite being 16 years apart in age. I'm curious, what has changed in his game since you first played him to now? And he's got basically he's the youngest person to ever achieve what he achieved today. Do you consider him the best young player to have played?
I mean, the results are testament to his already stellar career, and can't think of any other superlatives about him. I mean, I think everything is said, and he deserves every bit of the praise he gets from his peers, but also the whole tennis community. I mean, he's a very nice young man, good values, nice family, and of course already a legendary tennis player that made a mark of our already a huge mark in the history books of tennis. I mean, with only 22 years of age, so it's super impressive, no doubt about it. And well, first time I played him, he was 11 or 12 years old. No, he was, I think, 18 or 19, and you could already see that he's destined for great things.
This high-volume success is rooted in his ability to recover, both physically and mentally, at a rate that defies standard sports medicine. In the locker room, he is known for his humility, often being the first to congratulate an opponent regardless of the outcome. Yet once the first ball is struck, that humility vanishes, replaced by a competitive fire that has been described by peers as claustrophobic. Opponents feel as though the court is shrinking when they face him. His ability to take the ball early and rob them of time creates a psychological pressure that causes even the most seasoned veterans to spray unforced errors. This was most evident in the 22-6 Melbourne final, where even Novak Djokovic, the master of baseline chess, found himself forced into uncomfortable positions, attempting high-risk winners simply to escape the web Alcaraz was spinning. The sheer variety in his game means there is no safe place to hit the ball. If you hit it short, he's at the net with a velvet touch. If you hit it deep, he resets with a sky-high defensive lob. If you try to overpower him, he uses your own pace to crush a winner from a defensive lunge. This adaptability has made him the ultimate chameleon of the court, able to outgrind the grinders on clay and outserve the big hitters on grass. His 2025 US Open final against Sinner was perhaps the purest distillation of this, a match where two players played at a level that felt like a glimpse into the 22nd century. The speed of the rallies was so high that television cameras struggled to keep pace, yet amidst that hurricane of power, Alcaraz found moments of stillness to play drop shots that landed like feathers. This contrast, the violence in the violin, as one commentator put it, is why he is currently the most marketable and beloved figure in the sport. He represents a bridge between the classic era of touch and the modern era of power, proving that you don't have to choose between the two. His impact transcends the box score. He is inspiring a whole new generation of Spanish juniors, like the rising Rafa Yodar, who look at Carlos not just as a champion, but as a blueprint for how to handle fame with grace. As we move deeper into 2026, the aura surrounding Alcaraz has reached a point where he is no longer just a participant in the GOAT debate. He is the benchmark. He has already surpassed the title counts of legends like John McEnroe and Mats Wilander by his 22nd birthday, and with every tournament, he seems to add a new wrinkle to his game. Whether it's the improved kick serve that jumps 6 feet off the court, or the cross-court backhand slice he's begun using to neutralize heavy topspin, he remains a student of the game even as he masters it. His relationship with Juan Carlos Ferrero remains the most successful player-coach partnership in the world, a bond built on a shared vision of greatness that prioritizes long-term health and emotional well-being over short-term gains. This holistic approach is why Alcaraz looks just as fresh in the 5th set as he does in the 1st. He has become a master of the big moments, those handful of points in a match that determine the winner, displaying a level of clutch performance that was previously the sole domain of Djokovic and Nadal. In his 2006 Australian Open run, he saved an astounding 82% of break points faced, a statistic that reflects a mind that only sharpens when the stakes are highest. He isn't just playing against the man one and a kid from Murcia who plays with a smile and hits with a hammer. As he prepares for the clay court swing, where he will be the heavy favorite to win a 3rd consecutive Roland Garros title, the momentum behind him feels unstoppable. He has become the protagonist of the sport, the one whose matches are must-watch television, and the one whose legacy is being written in real time with every thunderous forehand and every cheeky drop shot. This is Carlos Alcaraz, the human highlight reel, the reality glitcher, and the undisputed king of the new era. Thank you for watching. Please hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications so you get notified every time we post. See you in the next one.